Hoi Hoi, my name is Kitsundere van Lonelyheart, and today I'm going to play a game which is the remake of a game that I played as a child. Um, I remember that the name of the game back then was Orion 95, which is probably because the game got re-released for... Make this a bit... It's probably because the version of the game that I played was a re-release for Windows 95, and the original game was probably designed for the DOS. I've bought the collector's edition on Steam from this game, and I've realized that the game that I played as a child was Master of Orion 2. I originally wanted to play that game, but when I just started it up, I realized that it emulates in the DOS box, and recording a game in the DOS box is a complete nightmare. For example, I didn't figure out how to readjust the window size, which means I would have like a very, very small window to play in, which is not bearable. This unfortunately is the main reason why I haven't made a let's play of Albion yet, because Albion is like my most favorite game of all time. It's like the best RPG that I've ever played, and it's very unlikely that I ever will play an RPG like it ever again, which is very unfortunate. And Albion is the game that inspired me to make video games, just because on how awesome and how immersive it is. But that's Albion, that's another story. Let's talk about Master of Orion. So Master of Orion is a strategy game. It is... I don't know how... Like, I would... The problem is if you don't have any deeper knowledge about strategy games, and I don't really know which game I could compare it to. Like, the one game that everyone knows is Sid Meier's Civilization, so I'm going to compare it to Sid Meier's Civilization. One thing that bothers me about Sid Meier's is that the diplomatic system in it is kind of obsolete. Like, there aren't really that many options. And I remember back then in Orion 2, the way how technology, for example, works is that you have a field, and in this field there are 3 different technologies that you can discover, but you can only choose one of those technologies, which means that you have to get the other 2 technologies if you want them, either through trading with another player, with another nation, or by stealing it. Now, while stealing is part of Sid Meier's Civilization, the fact that you can trade technologies, or even the fact that not all technologies are available to you, it just isn't a thing. It removes so much diplomacy from the game. Which is why I don't like modern games. I don't want to say that they're too easy, because it doesn't really have something to do with difficulty, right? But the games don't really forces you to interact with their own gameplay. I feel like that's what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, so I'm going to play this game. I want to see if it can give me the same feelings that I usually get when I play old games. And originally, I had the idea of just making one run for each race in this game, because in Orion 2, every race had a unique ability. Like, that's another thing. In Orion 2, a game from like 1995, right? You could customize your nations in this game. You could change the main ability, you could change minor abilities. All of those stuff doesn't exist in Sid Meier's. Why? Why can't you customize your nations in Sid Meier's? That's so stupid. That's like one of the most important minor things a strategy game like Sid Meier's needs to have. Without it, it's just not a real game. Anyway, single player. So play against computer. Tutorial match? No, I don't need a tutorial. I'm going to learn by dying. New game. So,
hailing from the cloudy planet Altair, the proud Alkari are an old race of avian hominids. Although well known for their peaceful disposition, they are fierce in combat and will rarely back out of a fight if they believe they have just cause.
okay,
The
so
Skylord rules over the flock uncontested.
you don't
He
need
is
to
the
read
de facto
anything. I want to
of
read that
all
stuff
Alkari
myself.
fleets, crewed by highly skilled and disciplined soldiers. Their pilots are among the finest in the galaxy. Alkari religion permeates every aspect of their culture, and their zeal can oftentimes be confused with fanaticism. They believe the god of sky created the Alkari to gaze over every horizon, and have been driven into space to fulfill that calling.
So those are the obligatory bird people of every game. They are one of the few races that I remember, but I didn't remember their unique ability. This is probably Kiara's race that she would play if she plays this game. The one race that I remember the most are the Psilons, because I've always used to play the Psilons. As I explained earlier how technology works, the main ability of Psilons is that they automatically research all three technologies in a field. So the Psilons is like the easiest way to get all technologies if you want it, but it's not really necessary. It's like, so for example, if I remember, the first technology, the first field is fusion energy, and the three technologies that you can choose is either you go for a fusion laser, which is slightly better than your nuclear laser. I don't remember what the first weapon was, like the generic weapon. Was it the mass catapult, or was it a nuclear powered laser? I don't remember. Anyway, so you can choose between the fusion laser, the fusion bombs, or the fusion engine drive. I don't know what the English word for this is. In Germany we say Antrieb, which kind of means drive, or which would translate into drives. I was looking that up, but I just couldn't find a good translation for Antrieb. But I'm assuming once I'm going to play this game, I will figure out what the translation for this is. Right? And so, like, fusion laser is like your web is for space fighting. Fusion bombs is for planet attacks. Also funny, the weakest weapon for planet attacks in this game are nuclear bombs. That says a lot about this game, I guess. If nuclear bombs are like the weakest weapon in the game. Anyway, right? And then you have like the fusion drive, or fusion engine, right? Which is slightly better than the nuclear engine, or I don't know what the base engine was. Right? And so you have to make a choice. And like what I really like about this is that the choice you take essentially influences your gameplay, right? If you go for laser weapons, then you will be slightly stronger in space fights. If you go for fusion bombs, you will have it easier destroying the planets of your enemies. And if you go for fusion drive, you are faster in combat, but you also can travel further outside of combat, which is really useful, right? Like, this is such a depthness of strategy that modern games just don't have. This is so sad. So anyway, the Psilons are one of the few races that I remember. I remember the Silicoids, because the Silicoids, they have a really cool ability. In this game, you have to manage three resources: food, production, and technology. And Like, so for example, you have to put in one worker in food. One worker in food will produce 2 food, so that he can sustain 3 people, right? Like one worker costs 1 food, right? And the advantage of the silicoids is that they don't eat food, they eat production. So instead of having your characters split between production, food, and technology, you can just keep what you would put in technology and dump everything that would you use on food instead of production, which gives you a huge economical bonus, right? So this is also one that I remember. Yeah, you can make a custom race. There is another one. I think it's this one. I remember those were like ant-like insects, which I played because they looked cool. I think it's this one, but they...
Deep in the caves of Koldon, the insect-like Klakon evolved to form the Hive, a unified consciousness stretching from drone to queen.
Hold on. I think I want to... I mean, the narration is cool, but it kinda destroys what it kinda destroys my point of it, so... Where can I find it? Interface? No. Audio? No. Gameplay? Let's go for Mute Advisor and see if he shuts up.
Hailing from the cloudy planet Altair,
No.
the
Okay.
proud Alkari.
Damn it! How can I make him shut up? I want to talk. This is one of my favorite games, and I want to talk. Is it GNN? I don't know what GNN stands for. I will just disable it and see if it works. If it's not what I want.
Hailing from the cloudy planet.
Okay, let's enable both of them again. Like the 2 things that I disabled. I think I'm just going to be unlucky with this one. Let's enable those 2 again. Enable edge panning. I don't know what this is. Gameplay settings. Interface. Content. I've enabled read-through fleets. I don't know what exactly that means. I hope that it makes the combat looks like... Or like the game looks like how I remembered it. That would be great. Okay. I don't know, alright. So let's go single player. I'm going to make a new match, and I want to play the Cylons first on my first
Under
game.
the supervision of the controller at Mentar, a sprawling network of Cylon communities comprise the Quanta. Devoted to the unraveling of the mysteries of the universe, each quantum investigates independently in order to contribute to the knowledge of the whole. The Cylon are a peaceful race and only keep fleets of highly advanced warships as defensive measures. Brilliant researchers, they are often ahead in the technological race, yet seldom seem to take advantage of their superiority. Instead, they prefer to trade for new discoveries while shielding themselves from the rest of the galaxy in order to continue investigating in peace.
I think I'm just going to show all the races for now, right? We already had the Alkari. Let's take a look at the Burati.
The harsh Ursa system is home to the Bulrathi, a ferocious warrior race committed to the preservation of nature. Fearless and brutal in combat, they rely on their strength to overcome opponents, while their heavily armored fleets withstand wave after wave of enemy attacks. Fiercely territorial, they are usually reluctant to strike the first blow, but they will go toe-to-toe with anyone who wanders into their domain. Their rich spiritual life revolves around the Hag, an elder who speaks for nature itself. It was the will of the Hag that pushed the Bulrathi into space as they sought to place the entire galaxy under their protection by any means necessary.
Okay, so I forgot to show those traits. I think I will go back to the Alkari, which means that you have to hear the narration again. I'm sorry about this, right? But like, this is the main ability they have. Ecologists emphasize improving the environment. They concentrate research on planetary and construction by pursuing terraforming projects. Starting technology is biology. I don't know what this means yet. First things first, I want to mention that those are bearways, which is in the Ursa system. Ursa is the, I think, Latin word for bear. So this is kind of funny, that's a good wordplay. Ecologist. They concentrate research on planetology and construction by and transforming projects. I don't know exactly what this trait means, but it's probably related to they can easily improve their planets. Homeworld, minerals rich, that means we have more production. We have a large size. The size determines how many population you can have, right? So like one limiter is how much food you have, and the main limiter, however, is how large your planet is. High gravity. I don't know exactly what this means. That doesn't seem to be a mechanic in the game that I played. And then ground combat rating. There are two ways on how you can deal with enemy planets. You can bombard those planets, which is where you use the nuclear bombs and the fusion bombs, or you can invade those planets. If you want to invade a planet, you need a fleet with transport ships, and you need to put soldiers on those transport ships, and then you essentially invade the planet with the soldiers. I'm not sure how this is going to work in this game, but in like the game that I remember, it was like very simplistic. And like the advantage is if you do ground combat, you can take over the population of the planet. If you use bombs, you instead just wipe out the population of the planet, right? Usually you're going to use a combination of both, because the less population they have, the easier to take over. Let's take a look at the Alkari again.
Hailing from the cloudy planet Altair, the proud Alkari are an old race of avian hominids. Although well known for their peaceful disposition, they are fierce in combat and will rarely back out of a fight if they believe they have just cause. The Skylord rules over the flock uncontested. He is the de facto commander of all Alkari fleets, crewed by highly skilled and disciplined soldiers. Their pilots are among the finest in the galaxy. Alkari religion permeates every aspect of their culture, and their zeal can oftentimes be confused with fanaticism. They believe the god of sky created the Alkari to gaze over every horizon, and have been driven into space to fulfill that calling.
Okay, so natural pilots. Like birds, this race has an affinity for flight, and their natural skills lend themselves to becoming top combat pilots, always pushing the limits of their ships. So beam defense and beam attack, I think it relates to laser weapons. There are... I don't remember how many different types of weapons there are, but I remember there was a mass cannon, which is like a ballistic weapon. The lore behind the mass cannon is actually really cool, and I kind of want to explain it a bit. If we shoot with guns, right? Like those bullets we shoot, they have like they are very aerodynamic, right? And they are light because the lighter the arrow is, the lighter the bullet is, the longer it can fly without being too affected by gravity. And aerodynamic, the more aerodynamic it is, the less affected by friction it is, which means it contains its power for a longer time, right? In space, that doesn't matter. You don't have gravity and you don't have friction in space. So a mass catapult is essentially a metaphorical catapult which throws objects that are heavy. Since there is no friction in space, that means the speed at which the energy with which the projectile is being shot never changes, which makes even like a normal, okay, not a cannonball because the sizes are a bit off, right? But like essentially just throwing a rock can be deadly in space, right? So the mass catapult is essentially the space equivalent of throwing rocks at your opponent. I just think that is so funny. Alright, but beam defense, beam attack, I think that relates to laser weapons. I think there are maybe 3 different types of weapons, right? You have ballistic weapons, you have laser weapons, and then you have rockets. I assume maybe there are also wave weapons. I don't remember wave weapons, however. The only weapon that I remember is the weapon that you get at the end of the game, which can destroy planets. I think it's called Disintegrator. Anyway, so ship improvement, travel speed bonus, travel 25% speed inside combat and outside of combat, which means they outside of combat they have 25% more range. But like the way movement works on the world map is that you have to jump from one solar system to another. At least that's how it was in the game that I played as a child. And in combat, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons, not Dungeons and Dragons. Warhammer. It's like a Warhammer combat system where you can move a certain amount of tiles, or not a certain amount of tiles, but a certain amount of distance, right? And this is based on your engine, right? So they have inside combat 25% more engine, right? Okay, so homeworld specialist artifacts. The waste homeworld has artifacts that allow faster research. So assuming they gain a bonus to research, while they get a bonus to production, and the homeworld size is large. I kind of have
the harsh Ursa system is home to the Blorothi.
Let's go to the Dark Logs.
Elusive and paranoid, the Darlok of Nazin both crave and despise identity. Their shape-shifting nature puts them at odds with themselves as often as with other races, since they neither trust nor can be trusted. They constantly scheme in the shadows, while their agents hide in plain sight, gathering information to serve the purposes of the Cabal. Scavengers by nature, they pull together elements from different sources into mismatched but effective patterns. The Darlok eschew open conflict and would rather sap their enemy's strength or place them on a collision course with another race before moving in for the final blow.
So I don't remember those at all. Right, like the only ones that I actually remember are the Alkari, the humans, maybe the Clarkons, I'm not sure about those, and the Psilons and the Silicoins. Or Silicoids. The other ones I don't really remember. Which is weird because that seems to be like something that I should definitely remember. Anyway, Diplomat. Diplomats concentrate on trade with allies and espionage with enemies. They seek a balance between military build-up, ecological maintenance, and technology research. Starting technology is government. The race starts with the government technology, and moral 5% is higher than normal. I'm not sure what moral is. Maybe it's like the mechanic is like the happiness mechanic from Civilization. Stealthy. Invariable, sneaky, always quite impatiently. Consider the next move. This race uses their stealth abilities for espionage and penetrate of enemy defenses. Ship improvement, stealth. The race ships can get closer to opponents without being detected. And the spies gain more experience than normal. I don't remember a spy mechanic in Orion 2, to be honest. Stealth. I think this stealth reflects not in combat, but outside of combat, so you can move closer to the enemy before they can detect your ship. Shapeshifters. By changing their form, this race can pretend to be almost anything they want, making it easier for them to recognize outsiders and infiltrate other societies. Plus 10 security and assimilation power. Assimilation of invaded races is 20% faster than usual. Right, so they're probably similar to the bears, better at taking over planets. Okay, let's take a look at the humans.
After ages of internal conflict and faced with dwindling natural resources on their home planet of Earth, humanity finally came together to form a consolidated
That's
government,
never going to happen.
replacing the many nations once dotting its political landscape. This new government brought unification, eroding long-held distinctions based on race, color, creed, and gender. Humanity thrived and at long last reached for the stars. Now, out of the Sol system, the human republic arises.
Name is Alexander, which makes me think this might be a reference to Alexander the Great. Now, like, the thing about science fiction is, like, the least believable thing in science fiction is that humanity will unite under one government. Just want to say it. So diplomats, so that's the similar as the Dark Lords. Charismatic, the race is used... the race is the used car dealer of the galaxy. Smooth, suave, and transparently artificial. But you just can't help feeling like you should be their friend. Diplomacy improved negations. The race has higher chances of others accepting deals. Improved the position. Positive actors have better diplomatic consequences and negative actions have softer diplomatic consequences. Traders. Natural bargain hunters. This race can haggle its way out of almost any situation and frequently come away with a tiny profit. Okay, so we gain 25% credits from trade treaties and 25% more credits from trade good projection. I don't know what this is yet, but we have much lower security. Okay. Let's take a look at the Klakons.
Deep in the caves of Koldon, the insect-like Klakon evolved to form the Hive, a unified consciousness stretching from drone to queen. As such, the industrious Klakon have no individual needs, no desires, and no ambitions other than the benefit of the hive itself.
Just as me.
This effectively makes them tireless workers and fearless warriors, each and every one willing to give their lives for the hive. Having nearly exhausted their home planet, the hive has begun its galactic expansion in search of more resources and room to grow.
So they kinda look, I mean, they do look ant-like, right? Like the original ones were ants, I remember. But I feel like the original ones looked much cooler than this one. I like, even though the original design was just pixels. I don't know. Okay, so industrialist. Industrialists emphasize factory construction and prioritize research into areas that will increase production capacity. Starting technology this way starts with physics technology research. Production from population plus 25%, and production is 25% faster than normal, right? So they're really good at building stuff. Food from population is plus 50%. Right, this is something that I remembered from back then. That's why I've used to play them, because they can generate food really quick. Subterranean. Living underground, this race ignores the light of the sun as much as possible and carves out its darkest systems beneath the surface. Uberplanet. Cavernous. This race can transform arid planets into highly improved cavernous planets. Cavernous, not... okay. Cavernous planets. Homeward biome arid. This race Homeward is an arid planet, right? So the advantage they have is that they can deal with desert planets better than others. Uncreative. This race is a bit slow, not very interested in new technology or science, and would rather let someone else do the thinking so they can relax or play. Get a random technology when researching technology nodes with optional applications. Okay, research from population minus 25% research. So their big debuff is that you can't choose which technology you choose, instead you get a random technology. Which means you definitely have to play with spice and diplomacy if you want to get a specific technology. Okay, let's take a look at the Mekla.
Coexisting in a sprawling, jumbled network filled with incessant chattering voices and signals, the Meklar Combine is an artificial ecosystem of AIs from the planet Meklon. While most Meklar have distinct cybernetic bodies to allow them to interact with their environment, many reside as programs and subroutines of the main Combine cycle. Ruled by the Overseer routine, they are industrious, capable of producing infrastructure and large fleets in a very short time. But the constant buzz of opinions and endlessly iterating cycles of application requests and updates make them erratic and unpredictable.
Okay, so yeah, they are industrial and cybernetic. Half creature, half machine, these cybernetic organisms require less food and work more efficiently, and also have a knack for taking care of artificial systems. Minus 50% food consumption, that's pretty good. That means you need 50% less workers on food. Ship improvement, auto repair. Ships regain 5% of the hull at the beginning of each run. I think I remember this. I think they were also some of the original races. Because I definitely remember the auto repair. And I also remember the less food consumption. Okay, let's take a look at the Marshan.
The blazing savannas of Fieras gave rise to the ruthless warriors known as the Mershan. But their hot temper almost proved to be their undoing. After years on the brink of civil war, the Mershan Empress now rules over her pride without question. Mershans are willful and independent, and their long history as hunters has shaped their culture fittingly. They see themselves as the peak of predators, and any other life form who crosses their path is regarded as fair game. They often strike out against even their closest allies just for the sport of battle. They are easily offended and will pursue relentlessly anyone they feel has slighted them, heedless of the consequences.
Okay, I'm sorry. Militaries seek to develop weapon technology. They will build and maintain a large star fleet at all times. Starting technology. I think this first sentences, or like the first two sentences, just define how the AI will act. It's not really relevant to the player. To the one who plays this one. Starting technology engineering. The race starts with engineering technology research. Ground units, improved marine training rate. Marines generate 50% faster. Right, so Marines are like your ground troops, which is used to take over planets. Plains dweller. This race lives to worship the sun and roam free in the open space of grass and fields, moving from one oasis to another to take in shades and water. Uber-planet grassland. This race can transform arid planets into highly improved grasslands. Okay, that's interesting. Homeworld. Oh yeah, Uber-planet. In the original Orion, the Uber-planet was Jaya. Right, and there was like this one planet which is protected by a raid boss. If you defeat the raid boss early on, you could gain the best planet in the game. Right, but remember that later technologies you can just transform every planet into Jaya if you want to. So this was more a like early game mechanic. It seems like here they have worked on this mechanic, and instead of just having Jaya, they now have Uber planets, which is different for each race. Homeworld biome is arid. Race Homeworld is an arid planet. Warlords. With their sights set on the domination of other races by physical force, this race trains extensively in ground combat and maintains a large reserve force of warriors. Okay, so we have 50% more damage on ground combat rating. And extended barracks. This race can host more marines at each colony. Okay, so it's very difficult to take them over by invading the planet. That's good to know. Improved negotiations. This race has higher chance of others accepting deals. Okay, so we can essentially bully others into doing what we want them to do. I've already had silence, but let's take a look at this.
Under the supervision of the controller at Mentar, a sprawling network of Cylon communities comprise the Quanta.
Probably. Damn it, I didn't want it. Okay, sorry. Alright.
Under the supervision of the controller at Mentar, a sprawling network of Cylon communities comprise the Quanta. Devoted to the unraveling of the mysteries of the universe, each quantum investigates independently in order to contribute to the knowledge of the whole. The Cylon are a peaceful race and only keep fleets of highly advanced warships as defensive measures. Brilliant researchers, they are often ahead in the technological race, yet seldom seem to take advantage of their superiority. Instead, they prefer to trade for new discoveries while shielding themselves from the rest of the galaxy in order to continue investigating in peace.
Okay. So we have technologists. Focus research on research seeking to advance the technology in all areas, right? Physical starts ways for physical technology research, and they have faster, right? So, like Cylons in the original game were to research all technologies, and I'm assuming they have this too. The Galactic Nerds this race is focused on mind over body and spend all of their time studying and thinking science and philosophy are goals in and of themselves. Yet, okay, this is creative. Yet all technologies when researching a technology node with optional applications. Research from populations and 50% more research. Homeworld is small, right, which is a huge debuff. Low gravity, which is probably also a debuff, and then less security, right? So they have like one of the best abilities, but they have a lot of debuffs, which is good to know. I'm going to play them first because I haven't played this game in like 20 years or so, and I feel like being able to unlock every technology is very good for new players who don't know what technologies they have to go for. So I'm going to play them first, and I'm also going to play them on like an easy difficult. Okay, let's take a look at the Sakra.
Primal in their ways, the cold-blooded Sakra from the planet Sla seem uncouth and unenlightened to many of the other races. However, their hulking forms and rustic rituals belie an enduring memory that has helped them reach the stars. They are lorded over by the hierarch, a long-lived progenitor, and in a very literal sense, the father to much of the brood. His main concern is for his offspring, whether acquiring colonies for them to reproduce or securing the resources necessary for their survival. It follows that the hierarch adopts a familiar and fatherly tone towards those he regards as allies. To the Sakra, everyone is either part of the family or a hated enemy.
Okay, so they are expansionists. Expansionists hunger for territory. They emphasize propulsion and planetology, technology, and the building of colony ships. They tend to be aggressive in border disputes over recently settled lands, but hold less interest in attacking well-defined worlds. Studying technologies, engineering, studying technologies, biology. So they start with two biologies, with two technologies. The thick wetness of jungles and swamps appeal to this race as they flourish in the ripe dampness which with teeming life. So their uber planet is tropical, the rest can transform swamp planets into highly improved tropical planets, and the homeworld biome is swamp, right? So their uber planets are swamps. Uncreative, right? So they're worse at research. They're better at reproduction and repulsive. No other race willing works with you. Your attitude, smile, and appearance, and even your voice repel other creatures instinctively. Okay, and they're very bad at diplomacy. Okay, now let's take a look at the silicoids.
Alone in their unique composition, the silicoid are an ancient race of silicon-based life forms from the planet Chrysalon. Their impressively long lifespans and abysmally low birth rates have resulted in a civilization of relatively few individuals with lots of experience. The oldest among them is known as the Keystone, ruler of the silicoid and speaker for the crag. As outcasts among other alien races, they see other races as fleeting, temporary blurs that leave nothing behind but trouble for the crag.
So the crag are really interesting because like we are like our living beings and all living beings we know of are what's the English name for it? Carbon, right? Because all living beings we know of are carbon based, and that's because carbon, I think, it has 4 ways? I'm not a scientist, right? I know about this, but it's difficult for me to explain it, right? But carbon essentially has 4 ways on how to react with water, and silicon only has 3 ways, or like 3 connection points, or whatever it's called, right? And like in theory, silicon-based life forms should be possible, but it has never established. And the reason why is because they have silicon has 1 less connection than carbon. The chances for silicon-based life is so much lower compared to carbon-based life. And since carbon-based life in the whole universe is already very rare, because the only planet we know of that has carbon-based life is our planet, the chances to find a silicon-based life form is even rarer, right? But like on concept, they're quite interesting at concept. So they are lithivores, consuming rocks instead of living organisms for sustenance. This race depends entirely on the planet's mineral richness. To grow its population, it seems little use for plant or animal life, right? So they don't consume food, and instead they consume production. The race doesn't breathe in mere gas, concentration, but hot lava that would heat the surface of most planets. So their planet is Inferno. This race can transform volcanic planets into highly improved Inferno planets, and their home world is volcanic. Repulsive, right? We already know this. They know diplomacy. Tolerant. This race is quite hardy and can withstand the difference in gravity on many different worlds, no matter how strong or weak. So they have all gravity tolerances. And the homeworld size is huge, so they have the largest planet. Okay, let's take a look at the Terrans. I cannot do the other ones unless I'm going to buy the DLCs. I don't have that much time left anymore. I only have like 40 minutes left before I have to get to work, which is incredible. Do I want to buy the DLCs? You know what? I'm going to buy the DLCs, and I'm going to make this video essentially just as a I have the DLCs. Fuck you. I have the DLCs, but they are not unlocked. Maybe I have to restart it. Let's do the Terrans. And then I'm going to restart it and see if they unlock now.
It was during the darkest times of human history that the age of the Khans dawned. All over their homeworld, civil unrest was mounting as society crumbled under the weight of deviancy, corruption, and greed. Mankind was poised to destroy itself in a tidal wave of chaos and despair when the first of the Khans rose to power. His callous rule was one of drastic measures of cullings and purges. Castes were established, dissidents were hushed, and little by little the race was forced to survive. Following his example, the Terran Khanate has continued to secure the survival of their species and now seeks to guarantee its place in the galaxy for generations to come.
Okay, so they seems to be the most war-related race by now. Militarist, we already know this, they start with engineering and they train marines faster. Strategist, 20% more command points and minus 20% ship coins. I think command points is the limit on how many ships you can have, but I'm not sure about this. Then beam attacks by 25% more laser damage, and then we have moral, which is probably the happiness mechanic. Okay, so now I kind of want to restart the game and see if this unlocks. Okay, closing the game takes some time. Alright. Alright. Okay. Alright, okay. It will take some time. I'm sorry about this. Okay, so let's see if the DLCs work now. Ooh, I can show the intro. No, I can't because now. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the intro. Maybe I've missed something. This game is loud. Sorry, I think that's funny. I haven't really talked about the main aspect of this game, why this game is so great. Because in this game, you can customize your troops. And you actually have to customize your troops. No, the DLCs aren't
Hailing from the
unlocked.
cloudy planet Altair, the
Why
proud
aren't the
Alkari
DLCs
are an
unlocked?
old race.
Fuck you. Available content. No, I don't have the DLCs. It says the DLCs has been added. But oh, okay. Okay, right. Okay, I think I know what's going on. No, I don't know what's going on. Eh? Eh? Let's go to the shop side and see what's going on. So, okay, no. Okay, right. So the collector's edition doesn't include the DLCs, but it includes a digital art page, and this is what I thought are the DLCs. So I'm going to buy the DLCs. They only costs like $6.60, so I've only spent like 36 on the the 3 original games, and then this remake and the DLCs, which is much cheaper than Civilization, by the way. Okay, I probably have to restart it then anyway. Alright. Okay, let's restart it one more time. One more time, let's restart it. One more time. I'm sorry, I'm happy. I'm sorry that I'm happy, because I know that whenever I'm happy, I am on something. What? Can you? What the fuck? Close. Okay. The game? No, it's probably not this game, but the DOSBox game were fucking with my order windows. Another reason why I don't like the DOS emulator. Okay, hold on. Library? Do I have the DLCs now? I bought them? I don't remember if I bought them or not. Additional content? Okay, I think I have the DLCs now. Nolan Leech. Okay, art book. Terrans. Ah, okay, so the DLCs that I've got for buying the collector's edition are the art book, the Terrans, and the retro fleets. Okay. Alright, let's start the game again. One more time, let's start the Damn it. Be faster. Wait, I can skip this, right? Yes, I can skip this. Escape is a button that can be pressed, you know. Okay, single player. New game. Alright, let's take a look at the Illyrians.
Born of the myriad islands of Draconis, the Illyrians are a feudal civilization with a rigid caste system and immutable gender roles. At the top of their social order sits the Grand Marshal of the Fiefdoms, a warrior of great renown who binds all the Illyrians to her will through her military prowess. Only females may enter military life at any rank. Males are relegated to the college forums, where they form the philosopher caste, always studying and pushing their race's strange mental powers to new limits.
The mental abilities of this race have evolved above and beyond that of the galactic peers. Knowing the mind of others makes them shrewd negotiators. Hard to deceive and allows them to take whole planets without resorting to violence. Mind control enabled. This race can invade planets by using their mind control ability. Which makes me think, okay, they don't need an army to conquer others. But they need a battleship or larger. Assuming the battleship is the second largest ship. Diplomacy. Improved negotiator, yes. Security plus 10% assimilation power, right. So they are really good at taking planets through invading. Omniscient. Omniscient. These know-it-alls innate abilities let them map the whole galaxy without leaving the comfort of their own home. Okay, this race can see all stars, planets, and opponents' colonies and ships from the beginning. Okay, they don't have to explore then. And then they have more beam attack and beam defense. Okay, so what are gnolems?
The Gnolem League is a tightly knit confederacy of traders based in the Gnoll system.
They're goblins!
The title of Commodore of the League is the highest rank a Gnolem can attain. Any trader bold or lucky enough may hold this highly sought-after position, representing the Gnolems in all official affairs. The League is well known for its seemingly endless fortune, both in goods and luck. Gnolems are cunning merchants and ruthless moneylenders who would rather pay off an enemy than fight them. However, their vast material wealth usually allows them to fund large fleets on short notice should they feel the need to take the field.
Okay, fantastic traders coming up from a society of fierce capitalisms has prepared this race to excel in trade negotiations, squeezing value from every deal no one else would have ever seen. Okay, so they gain 25% more from trade treaties and they get 100% more from trade good projects, okay. Special abilities lucky. These fortunate beings must have saved up a huge chunk of karma from a previous life. Negative events never seem to find them, and as luck would have it, they get attacked less and frequently by outside forces. This is another mechanic of this game. There are random events which are quite funny. For example, you can be attacked by space hydras, or your sun can go explode in a few years if you don't have enough research. So, kind of funny. Credits from population, they generate more money. I don't remember how money generation worked in the original game. There was money, but I don't remember that it was a resource that you could manage. I think you just would gain money based on how many people you have. And then they have a low gravity homeworld, right? So that's their debuff. They can't deal... I mean, they can deal... No, that's a buff. Okay, never mind. Trillions!
In the depths of the otherworldly oceans of Trilar, the Trilarian shoal is governed by the Stinger, half dictator and half messianic figure. His tentacled subjects worship old gods fashioned around folktales and cryptic mythology, whose darker undertones clash with their generally friendly disposition towards other races. They are willing to coexist with other races and rarely seek open conflict, but they are capable of quickly turning to strike when they believe it is in the will of their deities to do so.
I see, so this is Ina's folk then? Coming from an oceanic homeworld, this race perspective is skewed by water. They find Terran and ocean planets ideal for their development and can even thrive in swarms. Right, and they can turn oceans into uber oceans. Oh no, they can transform thunder planets into ocean planets. Oh, that's interesting. Transdimensional and unusual genetic alteration allows this race to phase shift through the space-time continuum, granting their ships extra speed in combat. Okay, they don't have that many bonies. That's quite disappointing. This is a DLC race, but it seems quite disappointing. I mean, they can, like, the unique thing is that they can thrive on ocean biomes, right? But I feel like Transdimensional is just like a weaker version of the natural
Hailing
pilots.
from the cloudy planet Altair, the
Okay, anyway. So, this was episode 0, you could say. And I have like 40 minutes left, so I'm going to end this video, and then I will play like for 40 minutes, which is not as much, unfortunately. But hey, I want to play this game, and I'm squeezing every minute of my life out of it if necessary.